for his statement. The representative of the Russian Federation has asked for the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've heard a lot of very interesting things today, and I would just like to share our views of what has been said. Although, of course, much of it does not warrant being talked about. Much has been very predictable. First and foremost, I'd like to say that once again, we have been justified in our proposal to hold a meeting under another item agenda was absolutely right, because today people have been talking about whatever they wanted, annex, occupation, aggression, and once again, apparently we also have annexed and occupied the Sea of Azov. That's something new to us. We didn't know about that. But the main topic here is something that not many people have talked about, in fact, apart from Vladimir Yurich, who predictably talked about some incidents that I'll come back to. So why did the Ukrainians feel that they were able to use that area, but they moved to an act of provocation and subjected their own sailors to a risk of their life? And nobody's managed to answer that question. Nobody even referred to that. So that could be perceived as being carte blanche for Ukraine to carry out acts of aggression and to pose a threat to the entire region. And given what the Ukrainian representative said, that is exactly what Ukraine thinks. I'd just like to correct what some speakers said. What was said by Ms. De Carlo, it was a bit odd. She seemed to mix up Crimea and the Minsk agreements. And I do hope, madam, that you have read the Minsk agreements. I'm sure you're well aware that no mention whatsoever is made there of Crimea. You also urged the sovereignty to be respected. Surely the sovereignty of the Russian Federation should be expected too. At least that is our understanding of what you believe. Ms. Haley also touched upon the fact that Crimea is part of the Minsk agreements too. And Ms. Haley, perhaps it seems that you're saying now that the Sea of Azov is part of the Minsk agreements too. Perhaps I just misheard. But unfortunately, that is really astounding. In a previous meeting, Mr. Nebenzia, our permanent representative, talked about he gave an entire analysis of the Minsk agreement. He went through it really paragraph by paragraph. And despite that, we have to hear these egregious things. Now, as regards the incident itself, well, there are many questions. Of course, the investigation is underway, and of course, we will share the outcome of that. But I don't want to predict what is still a hot topic. But I'd just like to highlight 2 points that have not yet been mentioned. But clearly, they pertain to this, and they need analysis. For example, one of the vessels, there were 2 staff members from the Ukrainian security services, and they had a mission to act in a certain way. And there's another small detail, but it's an important one. The Ukrainian party violated our border in a particular place that up until 2013 was part of Russian territory. If we're talking about crime and not talking about Crimea, rather, and not talking about Crimea. So they came up from the south. So this was a gross act of provocation. There's just no other qualification. But nonetheless, you are not prepared to recognize that as an act of provocation. Furthermore, it should be pointed out that your actions inter alia by supporting Ukraine's version of what happened is already leading to an exacerbation of the situation in the east of Ukraine, inter alia. As our OSCE colleagues have told us, the confrontation line of Istris, there have been shellings, etc., in that area. The Lugansk capital has had shelling, and military servicemen have been moved around to Petrovsk. And the Rasadka town has been captured as well. So these are specific events. They violate clearly the Minsk agreements, and all the rest, at least a lot of what has been said here today, has nothing to do with this. And you are just completely ignoring these facts. I'd also like to say that since Crimea has been touched upon, although Crimea is not on the Security Council's agenda, I'd like to underscore that the issue of who Crimea belongs to for us and for the Crimeans is not an open question anymore, whether you like it or not. No sanctions or no further restrictions will change our opinion. That issue was closed after the Crimeans voted in a free election and referendum to become part of Russia. That was a referendum on self-determination. Many people are asking, well, did they know what would face them given the current geopolitical anti-Russian project in Ukraine? Of course, people had no illusions. They knew what would happen. Now, does Russia regret what has happened? No, in no way, shape, or form. Furthermore, I'd like to say that the majority of Russians are proud of what has happened because we have sought to protect Crimeans. If we had not done so, then they would be subject to what subjected to what the people in Donbass are currently being subjected to at the moment. And these are Russian-speaking people who protected the area from the fascists. There's also a need to mention, and I didn't mention this in my previous statement regarding the proper topic, that the decision taken by Ukraine has really given free rein to the nationalists in Ukraine. Nobody mentioned the fact today that there was another attack on the Russian embassy in Kiev. The Ukrainian authorities did nothing, and a car was set on fire earlier. The radicals are threatening to storm the permanent representation, and there's no reaction coming from you. That just seems to be normal, in your opinion, it would seem. We are urging that the Ukrainian party, the side, ensure that complete protection be given to the Russian permanent representation in line with consular relations, that agreement. Mr. President, since you represent China, I'd like to remind you of something that was said by Confucius, namely, it's very difficult to find a black cat in a dark room, in particular if the black cat is not in the room. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, this is precisely what you're doing. You are condemning a Russian act of aggression, but you're not actually talking about the reason for why we actually met today in this meeting. The problem is right in front of you, and it's very easy to solve it. You can just solve the problem over a 10-minute period. You need the team from Washington. But unfortunately, given what our Ukrainian colleague said in his statement, I can understand that they are intending to carry on in the way that they have been acting. That needs to. You've been talking about how fantastical what we've been doing are. That needs to stop. And in conclusion, I'd like to say that what Kyiv has been doing in coordination with the US and others to promote a conflict line against Russia is fraught with very dangerous consequences. We are going to curb any infringement of Russian sovereignty and territorial integrity, including the Sea of Azov and that area. We do hope that that is clear to everyone. Thank you.
I thank the representative of the Russian Federation for